So, Josh, look, it feels like you've sprung forward quite recently from nowhere, but you've been going for a little while, haven't you? Sort of things in the last 3 or 4 years, things have really sort of come together. But you've been 10 years of doing stand-up.
I started stand-up on May the 22nd. 2014,
right?
Which is also the password for all of my comedy-based social media. It's not exact, but it is based on.
Okay.
So we might have to take that out. But yeah, and, so yeah, it's 10 years doing stand-up, and then obviously COVID came, and it was a bit of a reset. And then I started doing online videos, and then came back from COVID, and I did an open mic in Moseley in Birmingham, and it's not usually that well attended, and it was packed. And I was like, said to the guy, what's going on? And he said, I think they've come to see you.
Wow.
And I went on, and it was just loads easier. Just having people that already liked you in the... That was me gesturing as if you people like me. But at that particular gig, they were quite happy to see me. It was really nice, yeah.
So was it just because it felt, again, this one, it felt like it's longer than that to me, but I think time has changed, the time has warped, hasn't it, as a result of lockdown. So you just literally got to a point where you couldn't gig.
Yeah.
You were working, right, again, you were working as
so I started in 2014, gave up my job 2017, but like not, really struggling, really, between 2017 and then, so the second lockdown happened, it wasn't a choice of, what shall I do now? It's, I've got to start a job within the next 2 weeks. Yep. So I went back to work, and I actually really enjoyed that. I found it could be really creative when I had a bit of a structure. Yeah. And then I gave up work again in January 2022, just to do full-time stand-up and stuff. And yeah, it's been wicked, man. I love it. So
what was the first? I mean, because the online videos are fantastic.
Yeah. What
made you want to do it, and what was the first one that you did?
I didn't really think too much about it. I just kind of did. I just did a video. It was something about like the Zoom quiz. So I did something about that, and that more people engaged with it than usual. Then I did one about inventing the 4-cheese pizza.
Yes,
that was my definitely maybe really. And I just thought, what would happen if I did this every week for a year and see what happens?
Yes,
and it quite a lot happened. And then so in the end of this year, I'll be every Monday for 3 years. Would have done a video on a Monday,
right.
And it's not similar to this, but it's something you're tied into doing.
Yeah.
And it's great, but if I've not got anything on a Saturday, my wife and kids are not having a good time that weekend. I'm a bit stressed, but yeah, I've got something for this week, so I feel all right.
Yeah, but that's a really good impetus as well. I mean, it's one thing a week is it's not loads, but I mean, I know it is. As a creative person, there are weeks where there are months and maybe a couple of years where you're not thinking of anything particularly.
Yeah, and so sometimes I try and get some in the bank. I try and get if I'm feeling creative, or I've got if the house is quiet, I'll try and get like 3 or 4 in the bank, but then it doesn't feel the same as having an idea, doing it, and then putting it out. Yeah. When you've had time to, get in your own way and talk yourself out of it, it's not as fun, I don't think.
No.
I don't know if I'll do it forever in that structure. I went on holiday the other week, and I did basically did a statement saying that it's not going to be Monday, it's going to come on Tuesday. I thought everyone was like, yeah, we're not bothered, just do it. Just whenever you want, it's your account, do what you want. But you build up into such a thing, and people, it's just so chilled. Yeah.
I think it's really good, it is. I mean, I've been writing a blog every day for 23 years or something, which is insane. But it is, and sometimes it's not great. So, but it's good to make yourself do that, and you do think, I had all these rules in mind, exactly the same. Well, it has to be something that's happened that day. It has to be something that I've either thought or done that day. And you kind of go, but nobody will care if you.
No, I think it's just. And I'm just learning that in life. Generally, any hard rules for yourself are probably not that helpful. I do a journal, and you've got to do it every day. And I thought, you just putting more things in place for yourself to be stressed about sometimes. Yeah. Same with like eating. I'd be dead strict on trying to eat healthy, and it's just somewhere in the middle, isn't it? That's where you want to be, really.
You do. But what was it really coming out of lockdown? Was the first time you realised this thing's actually going to be slightly life-changing? Yeah. Well,
I actually thought I was quite a quirky alternative act, and then. No, I'm pretty straight down the middle, observational stand-up. And once you learn that, it's like, oh, these things, these ideas I'm having, it just gives you a bit more confidence in your ideas.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you know, that people will at least know what I mean when I'm doing this or saying this. So yeah, it's a real helpful tool for me.
Yeah.
That's been.
And it's not, you're not really, there's occasions you bring a character back or an idea back, but it's sort of a different thing mostly, isn't it? It's not, I mean, it's you, and you're not making much effort to sound like someone other than you. No.
I got a little part in something recently, and they're like, can you tape in a Manchester accent? And I just did my accent, and they didn't say anything. So I was like, oh, that'll do. But yeah, so it's basically like a premise. Could, and I have to be careful, you know, sometimes I have an idea for a video, you know, a 60-second video that lasts, there'll be another one next week, but actually that could be a good bit of stand-up. Like, if I took my time over it and fleshed it out and developed it, it could be like it could be my out instead of being a 60-second clip on the internet that people forget about tomorrow, you know.
Yeah, but then it's I mean, it's fascinating, you know, how things have changed and how social media has changed things, and, you know, again, I think how now it's possible if you do well with these things. You know, there's certainly like probably a dozen people who, before doing this, mostly no one would have known who they were, or would have been struggling on the circuit or doing something else.
I was doing well on the circuit.
Yeah, I'm not saying you were struggling.
I was doing okay on the circuit.
I'm saying there were a dozen people who were struggling. You were doing fine. But you know, it's a really good outlet, and it's very exciting, I think, to see people taking.
Yeah, it is, and I was lucky in the sense that I'd done, you know, 6 or 7 years of solid gigging.
Yeah.
So when an audience was there for me, I could at least do the job well enough for them to come back.
Yeah.
I think it must be hard for the guys that start online and haven't had any of the performance stuff. You know, you got guys that are doing their first gig in front of like 800 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, how would you even get through that? I don't know. So yeah, I was quite lucky that I'd done a bit really first. Yeah, it came at a good time.
And I watched your you recorded a stand-up special in this very room.
I did, yeah.
Which is available online for free.
Yeah.
Which again is a thing that a lot of people are doing now.
Yeah.
Which absolutely really fantastic hour of stand-up. I really enjoyed it. It was you know, the really terrific it's observational stuff, but I think it's quirky and it's
I had a
original.
review once. It said pub grub comedy served up with cordon bleu flair. I thought I'm having that. I like that.
There was a lot that was really making me laugh. I loved the stuff about your son having 3 xylophones. That was a very enjoyable.
Just a lot of stuff. So much stuff, man. I was saying to my wife, we've got another baby coming in December, and there's just so much stuff, and it's like, you know, the Home Alone films. I honestly believe they weren't traps. That was just how he was living. You know. Like, I could easily walk through my front door tonight, step on a skateboard, tin of paint hit me in the chin, and it's just nothing's been set up. That's just what's happened.
I'd say when you move house, you then realise how much fucking stuff you've got. I've got like my kids are 9 and 7, and the amount of stuff they've accrued in that time, and then when you're moving it and deciding we can get rid of some of this, and you've basically got a garage load of stuff you can give to other families.
Yeah, totally. It's so much stuff.
Yeah. It's great though, isn't it, being a parent? It's worth all the expense. It's worth all those presents that they never. The thing, like, if you have a birthday party, my son just had his birthday party because he's moved schools. We had the class he just left, and we're still locals. We had the class he just left and his new class.
Oh,
so 54 kids came to the party.
Wow.
It was a very expensive party at a soft play place, but he got 54 fucking presents.
Wow. And did you cater it?
There was catering. There was fish fingers and stuff involved, and we got a cake and stuff.
I've been to a kids' party today, actually.
Have you?
And they'd, I mean, this is boring, but they'd bought the bouncy castle outright, rather than hire it. And so I think this was the first time they've used it. So I think they said the guy needs to use it another 6 times in the next 12 months for it to be worth the money. So I think he's just going to be putting it up at everything, Christmas Day, everything, bonfire night.
Well, he's just going to start setting up his own bouncy castle business, isn't he?
Actually, he bought it off a guy and the guys who's bought it off, their number is on the front of the bouncy castle.
Right.
So the number on the bouncy castle doesn't even take you to his number, it takes you to the previous
takes
guys.
it back to the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that could be quite a good way of doing. Everyone could just buy the bouncy castle for the next party.
Yeah, I think there's money to be made in that. And the booking Bronco, you need storage, man. You can't keep that going. Cost of living, you can't have a.
You can deflate it in between, though, right?
Yeah, that's probably best.
Or you could live in the bouncy castle.
Yeah. Well, they actually did a very clever thing. They turned the bouncy castle off when the kids were eating.
Right.
As into no, you're eating now. You're not having fun now. And then they back up. It's back.
Right.
It's great.
Okay. So it's something to think about.
It is, yeah.
For next lockdown. Bouncy castles.